Hello, everybody. This is Victor here from Trend Following Trading for Beginners, and here's my weekly update on my sample trading portfolio coming up next. Back here another week, and currently in UK, I'm in Bath at the moment. The whole of UK has been battered by a storm. It's really wet and windy. So much wind as if I'm even just walk outside to get something from the corner shop, as if like I'm flying like a kite. It's so windy out here. All the rubbish bins and everything else out of the house just blowing everywhere. Anyway, for this week, for the past week, basically, quite a few things happened, and obviously the first thing is the Donald Trump impeachment ended, and then quickly some of those his staff in the White House who has testified against him has been fired by him, and there's a lot of comments and back and forth by both parties. And then State of the Union. Oh, what it was. It was quite a face, you look like it, and basically Donald Trump was trying to hand the speech, basically, to the House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, and then Nancy's extend her hand to shake Donald's hand. They just ignore him. And then when everybody's standing up and clapping for Donald's, at the end of his speech, Nancy just at the back, I think about 4 times or something, just torn her speech up right in front of everybody. That is in the public television as well. I believe that's live broadcast. So everybody who have been watching US on TV about Donald Trump's State of Union speech has seen what Nancy have done. Basically, it shows how deeply divided they are, the Democrats and the Republicans, fighting it out. Then next, obviously, is continuation of the coronavirus in China. There's more cases being reported, I think up to like 30,000 now or something, and then more than 800 people died, and it's a lot more death than the SARS epidemic back in 2003. And on the back of this, U.S. stock market just continued to fly. Don't seem to have any, the virus issue don't seem to have any effect on U.S. at all, as if it doesn't affect them. And obviously, also I think Monday or Tuesday, the Tesla price just go parabolic, even a bit more. I've been moaning about it, saying the price move is just not sustainable, and then suddenly you got this. 90 degree just shoot up, up the cliff, so to speak, and it looks like it's a major bear squeeze. A lot of people shorting Tesla, and I think you probably have read somewhere else if you're following Tesla that one of the top 5 most shorted shared in the U.S. stock market is Tesla. One of them is Tesla anyway, and gone up like $150 or something. It's huge move, and then obviously the next couple of days just come back down again. But I already done a podcast last week about it, and you can go back on that podcast and have a look. But it's just like it shows you. To me anyway, it's very much maybe a signaling the end of a big major rally in the stock market in US. Coupled with palladium, similar things going up, and because all these just look very similar to Bitcoin. If anybody follow Bitcoin, about 2017 or something, or 2015, and the price just gone up. Like a couple of thousand quid, then going up to like 15, 20,000, something funny, something mad, and then quickly come back down again. That kind of thing. So I think we are seeing something similar, maybe coming up in Tesla as well. I'll explain a bit more a bit later on. Next is obviously the virus in Asia, basically in China, and spreading all around, mostly in Asia. And there's talks in Hong Kong and Singapore as well on social media. People have been rushing into supermarkets and just buying up all sort of stuff. And they spread into Singapore as well. People are panicking there, and they don't have even enough masks. And people in Thailand are also giving out masks as well. But there's no panic there. But it seems to be the panic buying of food stuff has been spread from Hong Kong, China to Hong Kong, and then to Singapore at the moment. And obviously, the stock market also gone up. One of the reasons recently because the epidemic, the virus epidemic in China is, China's central bank have pumped loads of money into the financial system. Plus, I think this week they announced they're lowering some of the U.S. tariffs from 10% to 5%. And at the same time, I think it's on the 14th, so next Friday, coming in on Friday. And U.S. is going to do the same, that, in kind. Some of the Chinese import have got a 15% U.S. tariff on it. It's gone from 15% to 7.5%. But that's more or less been talked about. Last year, when Trump stopped the increase in U.S. tariffs on the 15th of December, and say, they're actually moving it down because they got agreement with Chinese to sign the deal, first phase one deal, so to speak. So so that's what it is at the moment. Also, because of the currency issues, well, no, because of virus issue, the currency in Asia countries have gone weaker against US dollar. So it's back look a bit like in 1997 when major economy in Asia have its currency basically gone down against the US dollar. And obviously, last but not least, only just happened I think yesterday in Thailand. There's some people just there's a army person now and just going around and shooting people and kill 29 people at the end. It's very very sad, but it just this theme about killing and death seems to be continuing from the first week of the new year, and I just hope it stop. There's just so many people die. And regarding the virus now, there's a couple of things I've seen it before. I've said it before and I've said it again. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the Chinese shutting down this town and shutting a road to try to contain the coronavirus is a great move. A bit slow, but it's still a move. But then to expect people to be very quickly can go back into the workplace just because you have this whatever 10 or 15 days quarantine. I mean, I think the Chinese is saying initially people might be allowed to go back to work around the 10th of February after the Chinese New Year, Lunar New Year celebration, which means I think normally if everything was fine without the virus, then the Chinese people should have gone back to work last week, but obviously because of the virus issue, the scares, the government have delayed it for a week or two. So the earliest the Chinese government say people can go back to work is around the 10th, but to actually think people will be able to go back to work around the 10th, I think it's a bit silly to think that that's going to happen. I mean, it's a virus go out there, and it's affecting many people. Chinese people, just like any people around the world, they get scared. Suddenly people died and they don't even know what to do. They got been locked down in their own town, own city. Nobody won't be able to move around. They don't really know what to do, and even if the Chinese authority come up with some formula to get them back to work, so to speak, with the right medicines, help them and so forth, people are still scared and they initially won't be going back to work, so it takes some time. So for all of this, especially China is the second biggest economy in the world, it does a lot of manufacturing. Okay, you might have reduced its manufacturing output. I mean, 2008, from like 40 something percent to now like 20% or something. I mean, it's still affecting a lot of Asian countries as well, European countries as well as US. And to think that it doesn't affect US, I mean, the stock market seems to tell us, everything's fine, still go down, still, going bad or whatever, do things, and American economy and the market is great. Like Donald Trump's, everything is great. Oh, sure. I don't think so. Like Donald Trump's speech keep on telling people everything is fine, but in the background, a lot of problems in the US, just like before, and a lot of this rise in stock market, to me, is because of Ripple market. The Federal Reserve is still pumping money into the financial system. I mean, they don't like to use the word quantitative easing, but the same result, it happens, the government through Federal Reserve putting more money in the financial market. If there's no problem in the financial market, what the heck? Fed is putting money into financial markets in the first place. I mean, explain that to me in 5 years old. Nobody can tell me. explain adequately why they have to like put the monies in. So there is definitely some sort of issue problem within US itself, just not being told properly yet. The people in power, people in the Wall Street just like to hide things, until everything belongs to face. Then they come up and then tell everybody what's wrong. And then again, just like back in 2007, 2008, nobody's go to jail, and the American Wall Street just continue to do the next stupid things. I don't know, next 10 years or something, again and again. Just this cycle just sickens me, just going round and round and round. But back to the Chinese things. This supply chain issue. China is manufacturing still quite a lot for people around the world, and they're talking about the car parts, clothing, shoes and stuff, toys and things. Okay, the American company might have imported a lot of Chinese products last year, just try to beat all this extra tariff deadline put on by the U.S. government as well as the Chinese government. But then you see in that day's report, remember I see some report about there's overcapacity. Sorry, they refer. There's too many things that's been imported from China into U.S. and the ports in U.S. have no place to actually put them. And all this because of inventory, just try to beat the deadline, I said, from the American as well as the Chinese government on the tariff side. So on the U.S. side, there's probably quite a bit of inventory yet. So the American people and American businesses probably don't see much of an inventory issue yet. But coming in, I think in the next 3 to 6 months, you probably see it. China at the moment is effectively in a lockdown. It's not producing anything. It is consuming from its reserve, and this lowering of the tariffs, and actually importing more stuff from America just coming at a good time. China is just not producing; just need those extra things we supply to it, and basically just just do the things that help its own country. But this lockdown basically, to me, it's going to affect everything in number of things. Obviously, the food, and also supply chains like Tesla. That one of the reasons come down very quickly. It's not just because short squeeze, just a little 1 or 2 days effect, but ultimately, just like any other manufacturers, they have shifted a lot of their manufacturing things into China, and people are just not getting back into work because of the lockdown of the cities. That's like 26 or something cities in China's being locked down due to the virus scares, and you don't expect people just suddenly go straight back to work the next day, isn't it? So, and also obviously you have McDonald's, KFC's, Starbucks, those kind of things that shops to shut for a while, and you don't know how quickly staff can go back to work, and then you sort of look at the McDonald's share price. It's still going up, and then sort of top it out a bit as if nothing much happened. Starbucks gone down quite a bit, and Yum was trying to break above the 200 moving average, just failing, and then now suddenly say, I have to continue to shut those KFCs in China for a little while yet, and then the price gone straight back down to Friday. That's a norm, but then this is just what we see and what's being talked about in the U.S. media. But to me, it's much more deeper than that. First of all, China have a lot of students that go to America. They really go to America for studying as well as tourism to visit. This is just the norm. So that is going to get hit. So less student visas going there, less students going there, less tourism going there. You have obviously the supply chain. So machinery, parts, clothing, and shoes and everything else going to America is going to be affected. Obviously, the internal profits of those companies who import all this produce from China is going to get hit as well. But you don't see them now at the moment. You probably see them in like second quarter of this year when they will reporting first quarter result, and you probably see quite a bit of effects happening. And then obviously the other thing is in Asia, both in Singapore and Macau, they got casinos. So the gambling side is going to get hit as well. Not to say the least, Destiny's will get hit on the theme park. In China, in Hong Kong, there's those, as well as what you call Japan. And what should we? Nobody's talk about those as well. So this all this is all what we can see. Probably a lot of things that behind the scene as well, because with globalization now, everything is interlocking. So it's not just going to affect America; it's going to affect the Asian country. Now the smartphone, for example, Foxconn say, oh, they can have people back to work this week. I mean, first of all, the Chinese government and the local government have to say, yep, these manufacturers of smartphones and electronic parts can open, but then to what extent? And how many people will actually turn up, and when can they actually ramp up? I mean, that's a big question mark to me to Apple's shares price. And still Apple share price, goes straight back up. As if nothing much happened, just shake it off. Now, I don't know what American investors are doing or speculators are doing, but as far as I'm concerned, this slowed down. It's already slowed down in Chinese economy, and as well as the virus effect. And it's going to just slow the whole things down. And I think Apple is trying to bring out a cheaper version of the iPhone 11 or something. I mean, that's definitely not going to work. And also, we have the iPhone 12 or something coming out with the 5G. Now, who's going to make those phones? How are they going to report those or bring those online on streaming and try to create the inventory quickly? Remember, what you call Coke? Yeah, Steve Cook is the deal CEO after Steve Jobs gone. He was famous for doing cutting down inventory on retail side. That's from according to Steve Jobs' autobiography. So Apple is running a very lean machine. Now, if the machine in China is shutting down and doesn't have those inventory, its inventory is going to be hard hit, not just in Asia but also in America, I presume, and around the Euro as well. I mean, Nintendo having similar issue. Some of the handset, Switch component couldn't be manufactured because they got the other parts need to be imported from China, and because basically the whole of China has been shut down, the other manufacturer just cannot do anything. Can you manufacture anything for the Nintendo handset? And for Donald Trump say, yeah, it's great to bring put tariffs on Chinese and bring the shop back, the manufacturing job back to America. But gotta remember this: why the hell the initial reason why the American managers, purchasing managers, and also companies, create all these extra jobs, manufacturing jobs in China in the first place, because of cheap labor. And even after shipping costs, everything else is still cheaper than create the same thing in America because of regulations, tax, whatever, all sorts of things. So it costs more to manufacture in America. Donald Trump is saying, yeah, great, bring those jobs back. But they forgot to tell you, yeah, the side effect is the price of producing a single unit when compared to creating in Asia, it's going to be much more expensive, but therefore you have inflation. Things will go cost more expensive. Okay, and they didn't tell the general public about that. That is quite annoying as far as I'm concerned from another point of view, from outside point of view. So from all of these little things happening, as if the stock market in America, as if nothing much happened. It just basically boils down to one thing. Stock markets go do stock market things and just ignore all this, gray rhino they call it. This obvious facts. I'm not the only one talking about this kind of thing. And just the market just ignore it. But when they actually see the numbers being reported for, the first quarter is reporting, the last quarter of 2019, and so from March, April onwards, when the American company reporting first quarter result from 2020, we'll start to see the stock markets, will adjust itself. It may be faster, maybe early, I don't know. But it looks at the first quarter, everybody's still singing, everybody's still dancing, the musical chair is still happening, past the parcel is still happening, everybody's happy until, the music stops. So just to me, it might be a prediction, but it's from just logically thinking. I don't see well for second half of the year that things might just happen, and then it's going to affect the American stock market. And the other thing over here is hooray for Australia. There's rain, so it's good. A lot of fires been gone down quite a bit. That's good. But then now they got places got flooded as well a little bit. So but at least it's more. Well, it will help the Australian people because I think they got drought the last couple of years as well. So all this severe weather suddenly got a lot of rain over there will definitely help not just of the fire, but also replenish water line, so to speak. But the problem here is with so many places that's on fire in Australia. Okay, the plant will we reborn, so whatever, just regrow. But what about those animals that's been killed? Millions of them been killed, earned. I don't know what's gonna happen to them. I mean, they just lie there. Nobody collecting them. Maybe vultures eat them, but or ants, whatever. But that will take some time. So now you got rain as well. So the the breaking down of those bodies or those animal bodies, what would happen? I just worry that for Australia, there might be some disease coming around, in the forest where the fire was, and it will spread into the city, and also the bat populations. I'm not sure if anybody's seen. I think on BBC News, people capturing video and send it on to social media. It's loads of bats flying around. The habitat. I don't know, probably because of the fire. A lot of trees have been burned, the forests have been burned, as well as the population somehow so exploded. But they got no space, no place to go, so they got basically into the cities, and it's affecting a lot of people, health-wise. Well, that's unsightly and also very noisy as well. So those are things seem to happen. Then hopefully Australia, all the bad things will stop in Australia, and then they can start rebuild, especially the fire. I mean, they really need to rebuild. That will take some time, and then that basically commodity prices in Australia will go up. General stuff get more expensive because it's building houses, replanting the trees, and all the roads and all those things. So it's got to be quite a bit of activity in Australia. So just watch out those Australian money as well, Australian dollars. Basically, okay, that's more or less what I have to talk about for this week. And here come next is the update of the sample portfolio. Okay, first off the bat, we have got an Apple. So, like I said before, it's been quite volatile this week, but it's bounced back. So this week for short term, medium term, and long term are all buy still. Amazon, once again similar to last week, short term, medium term, long term are all buy. Australian dollars against US dollars continue to be sell across the board. So short term, medium term, long term are still sell. Crude oil and Brent crude again same as last week. Sorry, basically it's continued to be sell. Even though there was talks of the OPEC going together and have meeting and try to cut productions. I mean, because of the coronavirus in China, basically it also slowed down the economy around the world. The oil basically just continued to go down. So crude oil and Brent crude short term, medium term, long term are all on sale. Back to DAX, because of the volatile market last week, more or less. Around the world, the stock market recovered a bit from the downturn last couple of weeks, and so it's recovered a bit. So this time now, DAX for short term is a buy, medium term is neutral, long term is a buy. Dow Jones continued, same as DAX, so short term is a buy, medium term is neutral, long term is a buy. FTSE, similar thing, short term is a buy, medium term is neutral, but long term is still neutral. Gold, on the other hand, is gone to a sell mode now for short term, but still buy medium and long term. So it looks like it's quite strange though. Normally, I think the US dollar index have gone up to like 98. You guys expect when that gone up as well as the Dow Jones recovers, you see the gold price supposed to go back down very quickly, but no, it's still staying around 1550 area. So as if something is going on. So the market generally didn't sell it down. So it's thinking there's some problem, and this is just my personal feeling. I think this lack of will to go down when the stock market is up in America as well as the U.S. dollar index is up. It sort of boiled down to tell me that there's significant strength underneath the gold market. So, but short term wise is a sell, long term, medium term is a buy. So we just have to watch and see how it goes. Hang Seng Index, short term is a buy now because of recent bounce, neutral for medium and long term still. For Nasdaq, well, basically even the fluctuation a lot. It's short and medium and long term are all buy still. Nikkei, short term is a buy now. Medium term is neutral, long term still buy. Silver, I haven't been shocked of much over the last couple of weeks. Short term is a sell, medium term is neutral, long term is still a buy. It's just like a sideward channel. It's similar to gold, going sideways, but silver seems to be the one that's just sideways for much longer. The Chinese, obviously, stock market came back in, and then the Chinese yuan against the US dollar against Chinese yuan basically gone up, so to speak. And basically, that means the Chinese yuan dollar is got weaker. So short term now it become a sell at the moment because of the fluctuation. Medium term is neutral, long term is a buy. So USD again, the Chinese yuan again. Short term is a sell, medium term is neutral, long term is a buy. USD against Japanese yen. Well, again, the market seems to recover, so the yen have weakened again. So at the moment, USD against Japanese yen, short term is a buy, medium term is neutral, long term is a buy. British pound against the Japanese yen, short term is a sell, medium term is neutral, long term is neutral. Same thing for British pound against US dollar. Short term is a sell, medium and long term again also is neutral basically. So the Brexit has happened, and we have come out of the Britain, UK have come out of Europe now. So now just basically a hard negotiation with the European market. Of course, the European Council is going to say something. It's a lot of brinkmanship, back and forth, but Europe still, we really haven't got much of a choice to just have to negotiate with UK. You just have to do these things. You might not want Europe wants it, but at the end of the day, UK has got its mandate. The government as well as the people have said it. They want to get out and just have to continue. And we just have to see. But while that's happening, obviously the back and forth between two countries in Europe and UK, they just got to make the pound to be a lot more volatile. So we just have to wait and see. Next, last but not least, basically next is a Bitcoin. Short, medium, long term are all buy. Now I've seen quite a bit of social media out there saying now Bitcoin is the best time to buy now. It's going to go up, 10,000, 20,000, all kind of things, funny things again. But recently, it does have, short term is gone up, medium, long term all gone up as well. So slowly, for the last couple of weeks, things have turned its corner, so to speak, on Bitcoin. And so we just have to wait and see. So if it continue happening while everything is in turmoil, Bitcoin seems to be, gaining its strength. So we just have to wait and see how it goes. Anyway, this is the end of this update, and I hope you like it, and speak to you soon. Bye for now.